Hollywood made you believe they were accidents, overdoses, or just tragic coincidences. But the truth is far darker. Behind those seemingly random deaths lies a chilling reality. Some stars were silenced because they knew too much. Actors and actresses who, by being close to power, uncovered dangerous secrets that were never meant to see the light of day. Secrets that Hollywood, politics, and the most powerful were willing to protect at any cost, even if it meant taking the lives of their own stars. Get ready to uncover the 17 most unsettling and disturbing stories from classic cinema cases the entertainment world desperately tried to bury because what you're about to hear weren't accidents. So, buckle up. This is where it all begins. Marilyn Monroe was more than just a star. She became a threat to political and mafia elites because of the explosive secrets she knew. Among them were her intimate relationships with President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert, as well as dangerous ties to the mob led by Sam Giancana. Shortly before her death, Marilyn had confided to close friends that she planned to go public with these compromising connections at a press conference, making her an immediate target for those in power. On the night of her death, a series of strange events raised serious questions. Her housekeeper reportedly washed the bedsheets before police could examine them. A notebook containing Marilyn's personal notes mysteriously vanished, and several neighbors claimed they had seen suspicious vehicles near her home just hours earlier. The FBI also seized her personal documents, further fueling the theory that Marilyn Monroe was silenced to protect secrets that could have changed the political course of the nation. George Reeves, the legendary Superman of television, was entangled in a dangerous affair with Toni Mannix, the wife of Eddie Mannix, a powerful MGM executive known for using violent methods to cover up Hollywood scandals. Reeves had decided to end the relationship and start a new life, but Eddie Mannix would never allow it. In the weeks leading up to his death, Reeves experienced mysterious car accidents and received anonymous phone threats on the night he allegedly took his own life, clear signs that his life was in danger. The police made critical errors during the investigation. Evidence went missing. Witness testimonies contradicted each other, and fingerprints found at the scene didn't match Reeves. Even the bullet that killed him was found in a strange position, inconsistent with a self-inflicted wound. Reeves knew too much about Hollywood's hidden corruption, and his swiftly covered-up death confirmed what many still believe. Superman was taken out for crossing a forbidden line. Thelma Todd was the most popular comedic actress of her time, and also the owner of a successful restaurant frequented by key Hollywood figures and notorious mobsters, including none other than Lucky Luciano. But when she refused to let her restaurant be used as a front for illegal gambling and drug trafficking, she unknowingly sealed her tragic fate. Her body was mysteriously found sitting in her car, allegedly having taken her own life through carbon monoxide poisoning. But disturbing truths quickly began to surface. The autopsy revealed suspicious marks on her neck and face, and a key witness claimed to have seen Luciano in a heated argument with her just days before her death. Strangely, several police photographs from the case vanished without explanation, as did crucial witness statements. Natalie Wood, a star since childhood and a celebrated actress in Hollywood, seemed destined for lasting success, but her life ended abruptly under still unresolved circumstances. For years, it was rumored that Natalie knew intimate and dangerous secrets about her husband, Robert Wagner, and other powerful figures in the film industry. Strangely, just weeks before her death, Natalie publicly confessed she had an unexplainable fear of drowning. On that fateful night in November 1981, Natalie mysteriously vanished from her yacht, where she was with Wagner and actor Christopher Walken. Her body was found floating hours later, marked with strange injuries and bruises that were never fully explained. The yacht's captain later revealed he had heard a heated argument between Wagner and Natalie shortly before she disappeared. But those statements were silenced for decades. The media called it an accident, but the truth is clear. Someone decided to end Natalie Wood's life that night, sinking the truth forever into the sea. Jean Harlow, the dazzling first platinum blonde of Hollywood, quickly rose to the top of classic cinema, but her life was marked by dark tragedies and dangerous secrets. Harlow was married to Paul Byrne, a powerful MGM producer who was found dead from a gunshot under highly suspicious circumstances. Rumors swirled that Harlow knew exactly who had taken her husband's life, but kept silent out of fear of retaliation from the studio. Strangely, just a few years later, the actress began showing mysterious symptoms and died suddenly at the age of 26. Although her death was officially attributed to kidney failure, Close sources revealed that she had expressed fear of being poisoned shortly before falling ill. The powers that be quickly shut down any deeper investigation. But one terrifying question has never gone away. Was Jean Harlow silenced for knowing too much? Carol Landis was a glamorous actress known for her beauty and stormy romances with powerful figures in the film industry. At the height of her career, she became involved in a tumultuous relationship with actor Rex Harrison, a romance that ended abruptly under tense and suspicious circumstances. Landis had reportedly threatened to expose scandalous sex secrets involving Harrison and several studio executives. Just days after making that threat, Carol was found dead in her home, allegedly by taking her own life through a pill overdose. But the notes and letters that vanished mysteriously from her home that same night were never made public. Close friends claimed Carol had plans to move away and start a new life, casting serious doubt on the taking her own life theory. Bobby Driscoll, the innocent Disney child star, was loved by millions during his youth, but fell from grace as he grew older. Driscoll knew too much about the above and what young actors were subjected to in Hollywood. He even spoke publicly about having experienced it firsthand. His death was both chilling and revealing. In 1968, Driscoll's body was found abandoned in a vacant building in New York, disfigured and in an advanced state of decomposition. So much so, he was unrecognizable. His identity remained unknown for months, as if someone had deliberately tried to erase his existence. Hollywood quickly turned him into a forgotten footnote, but many believed Bobby Driscoll was silenced by those desperate to bury the truth about the horrors of the child star industry. Pier Angeli was an Italian actress of delicate beauty and undeniable talent whose life was marked by intense and dangerous lovers, among them James Dean, but her darkest connection was with the powerful Hollywood machine which tried to control every aspect of her life. When Angeli threatened to reveal details about abuse and corruption within the studios, Hollywood decided it was better to silence her forever. Her death in 1971, officially ruled an accidental overdose, left more questions than answers. Strangely, close friends revealed that Pier never took tranquilizers in the amounts found in her system. On top of that, personal documents vanished mysteriously from her home just hours after she died. Do you believe Sweet Pier really died by accident, or was a dangerous voice silenced just as she was about to expose Hollywood's darkest side? Nick Adams was a rising star in Hollywood, closely connected to major figures like Elvis Presley and James Dean and deeply entangled in personal secrets and intimate scandals. It was said he knew explosive details about the private lives of many famous actors. When Adams publicly hinted that he was writing a tell-all autobiography, he sealed his own fate. In 1968, Adams was found dead from an alleged accidental overdose, but the crime scene appeared, staged, and tampered with. Witnesses reported seeing suspicious vehicles circling his home just before his death, and key personal documents mysteriously vanished. The case was quickly labeled an accident, burying forever what Nick Adams knew and was ready to reveal. Thomas H. Ince was a true pioneer of cinema, legendary producer, and the architect of the studio system. In 1924, he attended a private party aboard the luxurious yacht of media tycoon William Randolph Hearst. There, according to persistent rumors, Thomas Ince witnessed something extremely delicate, a romantic confrontation involving Hearst, his mistress Marion Davies, and Charlie Chaplin. From that moment on, his fate was sealed. Ince mysteriously died during that same voyage, officially from a heart attack. But later, testimonies claimed that Ince had been accidentally shot during a jealous outburst by Hearst aimed at Chaplin. Terrified of Hearst's influence, Hollywood covered up the crime. Thomas Ince was buried quickly while the evidence and the inconvenient witnesses were silenced forever. Dorothy Kilgallen wasn't an actress, but she was a powerful journalist and television panelist who dared to investigate the darkest corners of Hollywood and American politics, including the assassination of President Kennedy. Kilgallen publicly claimed to have explosive information about who was truly behind the murder and promised to expose it all in a book that was never published. In 1965, Dorothy was found dead in her apartment, allegedly from an accidental overdose of barbiturates. But mysteriously, her personal notes and investigative documents related to the Kennedy case vanished the very night she died, and the police refused to conduct a thorough investigation. Hollywood and political power silenced the woman who knew too much, making it clear that exposing certain truths came at the ultimate price. Albert Decker was a respected character, actor, politician, and influential figure in Hollywood. But his life ended in a scene so grotesque and disturbing it still sends chills to this day. Known for his political activism, Decker had become a problem for powerful people by publicly denouncing corruption in the entertainment industry. He was determined to name names, but that was far too dangerous. In 1968, Decker was found dead in his bathroom, unclothed, hung by the neck, and handcuffed with strange messages scrolled on his body in lipstick. Police quickly labeled it a bizarre accident, ignoring key evidence that pointed to the presence of others in his apartment. Did Decker die in a bizarre sex scene? Was he humiliated and silenced by someone powerful who wanted him gone for good? Lupe Vélez, the fiery and passionate Mexican actress who took Hollywood by storm, was famous for her explosive temper and scandalous romances with powerful figures like Gary Cooper and Johnny Weissmuller. Lupe knew dangerous, intimate secrets about politicians and stars and wasn't afraid to threaten to expose them if she was crossed. Her death in 1944, labeled by Hollywood as a dramatic suicide by overdose, was highly suspicious. An initial report curiously indicated that Vélez had tried to call for help in desperation before dying and that someone else had been in the house that night. Those details were quickly scrubbed from the official record. Virginia Rappe was a rising silent film actress whose talent and beauty promised to make her a star. But everything changed in 1921 after a party hosted by Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle Leone, of the most famous comedic actors of the time. During that gathering, Rappe suffered an attack that ended her life just days later under horrific and disturbing circumstances. Although her death was officially attributed to complications from peritonitis, witnesses claimed she had been the victim of a violent sex assault by Arbuckle, who was protected by the film studios. Inger Stevens was a shining star of 1960s television and film, but behind her flawless image lay secrets that made the industry deeply uncomfortable. Stevens was involved in discreet relationships with powerful men in Hollywood and politics, holding dangerous secrets that threatened entire careers and reputations. When she decided to go public with what she knew, her fate was sealed. In 1970, Inger was found dead in her apartment, allegedly by taking her own life through an overdose. But unsettling details soon emerged. The door was left ajar, items were out of place, and witnesses said she had seemed cheerful and optimistic just days before. Her personal planner and private letters mysteriously vanished that same night. William Desmond Taylor, one of the most successful and respected directors of the silent film era, was murdered in 1922 under such strange circumstances that it shook all of Hollywood. Taylor knew dark secrets about stars and studio moguls, including addictions, sex, scandals, and corruption. Shortly before his death, he had threatened to publicly expose several powerful figures in the industry. The night he was silenced, letters, documents, and compromising evidence mysteriously vanished from his home before the police arrived. Hollywood immediately launched its machinery to cover up key names, and although no one was ever arrested, the message was loud and clear. Anyone who knew too much would meet the same fate as Taylor. George Raft wasn't just one of the most iconic gangster film stars of classic cinema, also had dangerously close ties to real-life crime, maintaining tight relationships with mafia figures like Bugsy Siegel. Through these connections, Raft was exposed to explosive secrets involving murders, police corruption, and money laundering in Hollywood. Although he survived multiple attempts on his life, he lived constantly on the edge, aware that he could be silenced at any moment for what he knew. Strangely, after his death in 1980, personal documents and tapes containing revealing testimonies mysteriously vanished from his home. The question still lingers. What dangerous secrets did George Raft take to the graveyard who made sure they never came to light? Do you really think these were just accidents? Or was there something more behind them? Now that you've heard these stories, tell me, which of these cases do you think hides the most chilling truth? The illusion of safety within fame is perhaps one of Hollywood's most dangerous myths. For many of these stars, their public visibility didn't protect them. It painted a target on their backs. The more beloved they were, the more damage their revelations could do. This is why the machinery of suppression worked overtime to ensure that the face millions adored never became the voice that exposed the truth. There's a disturbing symmetry in how these stories end. A star rises, begins to ask too many questions or plans to speak out, and then silence. Not just silence in death, but in legacy. Studios, publications, even families sometimes cooperate, intentionally or not, in rewriting the truth. This manufactured amnesia is one of Hollywood's oldest tricks. Control the narrative, and you control the memory. It's also important to note how quickly the public moves on. A headline flashes, condolences pour in, and within weeks, the story is buried, sometimes literally. But those brief headlines rarely capture the real story. They omit the context, the contradictions, the cover-ups. And as time passes, the official story becomes gospel, while those who question it are dismissed as conspiratorial or delusional. That's how the silence is maintained. For every name that made it into the headlines, there are countless others who never even got a whisper of justice. These weren't just Hollywood tragedies. They were orchestrated events with players far beyond the soundstage. Power doesn't like loose ends, and these stars had seen too much, heard too much, or spoken too loudly. Each death was a warning, echoing through the industry, reminding everyone to stay silent or face the consequences. Behind every unanswered question lies a team of publicists, attorneys, executives, and media handlers, all trained to rewrite the narrative before it ever reaches the public. These aren't just one-off cover-ups. They're orchestrated strategies refined over decades. And when one cover-up worked, it set a precedent for the next. What you're seeing in these stories isn't chaos. It's a chilling kind of order. What's even more alarming is how often these deaths were labeled with a single, vague explanation. Overdose, heart failure, took their own life. But when you look deeper, the inconsistencies multiply. Conflicting witness reports, missing documents, tampered evidence. There's an entire pattern of official stories that fall apart under scrutiny, and yet they remain unchallenged by mainstream outlets. There's also something to be said about the patterns in timing. So many of these deaths occurred just as the stars were planning a comeback, a press appearance, or a tell-all revelation. It's as though their final moments were preemptive strikes, removing them from the spotlight before they could change the narrative. Whether it was fear of exposure or a desire to protect those in power, the result was the same: silence. Behind every unanswered question lies a team of publicists, attorneys, executives, and media handlers, all trained to rewrite the narrative before it ever reaches the public. These aren't just one-off cover-ups. They're orchestrated strategies refined over decades. And when one cover-up worked, it set a precedent for the next. What you're seeing in these stories isn't chaos. It's a chilling kind of order. What's even more alarming is how often these deaths were labeled with a single, vague explanation. Overdose, heart failure, took their own life. But when you look deeper, the inconsistencies multiply. Conflicting witness reports, missing documents, tampered evidence. There's an entire pattern of official stories that fall apart under scrutiny, and yet they remain unchallenged by mainstream outlets. There's also something to be said about the patterns in timing. So many of these deaths occurred just as the stars were planning a comeback, a press appearance, or a tell-all revelation. It's as though their final moments were preemptive strikes, removing them from the spotlight before they could change the narrative. Whether it was fear of exposure or a desire to protect those in power, the result was the same: silence. But the deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. These weren't random tragedies. They were erasures. Calculated moves designed to keep secrets buried, reputations intact, and the public distracted. And maybe the most tragic part is this: many of these stars believed they were finally free. Free to speak, to live authentically, to reclaim their own story. But Hollywood has never been a place that rewards truth-telling. It rewards obedience, spectacle, and silence. And for those who dared to break that cycle, their punishment was swift, final, and often shrouded in mystery that still haunts us today. In a business driven by image, even a hint of scandal can trigger a cover-up. Reputation is currency, and when that's at risk, damage control takes priority over truth. For some stars, that meant a carefully worded statement. For others, it meant being permanently erased. The studios had resources, connections, and in many cases, something to lose if the truth ever came out. Hollywood has always been a place of glamour, but also of shadows. Behind every red carpet lies a corridor of fear. The studios knew how to create legends and how to destroy them. When secrets threatened to reach the surface, they didn't rely on chance. They acted. Silencing voices before they could speak out became just another part of the system, hidden behind smiles, award shows, and perfectly rehearsed interviews. Sometimes it wasn't what the star did, but who they were connected to. A whispered affair with a political figure, a friendship with a mob boss, a confidant to someone in power. These associations, even if innocent, put them in dangerous proximity to secrets that couldn't afford exposure. And when secrets are more valuable than lives, the outcomes become terrifyingly predictable.